Hello, everyone. Today we're doing a little bit something different. We're actually going to be covering the DLC that was announced a few days ago for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Here with me, I have Colton and Kuda, and we're going to be
Yo.
kind of discussing everything and kind of going over bits and pieces of the trailer as well as part of the interview. Not really covering much of the story itself, as it's been stated that this takes place in its own story, and we'll kind of cover that a little bit later, potentially. But that we're going to cover a lot of the discussion about the weapons and then the trailer itself, and kind of theorize and kind of predict or kind of guess at what might be going on. So we'll start here. I'm going to click on it with this picture here that's showcased in the DLC.
Yeah. First image we ever got for it.
Yeah. First image. One of the things right off the bat, right, is that it has a veil almost appearance, as if the whole thing is being like covered by a sheet or like a blanket of some sorts, almost like a silk.
Yeah, like one of those drapes that go over like the beds of royalty
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, exactly. Um, my thoughts on this is they talk about how this area is like tucked away in its own separate thing, and this could be kind of like a representation of that, right? So we're thinking that maybe that this is just the like effect that it has, that it's being covered or hidden away, and so that drape slash like sheet like effect on the top that you see there in the sky is representative of that. But what do you guys think?
I feel that's pretty
hmm
accurate. A kind of way to hide the land of shadows away from
Mm-hmm.
everything else.
Yeah.
Um, Other things too in this, there's no real familiar land, and the fact that this takes place in its own separate place, we shouldn't have any landmarks. The only other thing that we can talk about really then is kind of the Erd Tree itself, or the shadow of the Erd Tree, but that doesn't even look like the Erd Tree, at least the one that we see in game. So
No, it's like hunched over. This tree looks like it's like bent or either broken.
yeah,
It looks like it's being like the main tree there is getting like choked out by either another tree or a parasite,
hmm
and like sap is getting like twisted out of it, because that is something that happens with parasite trees.
right. Which we know that that's what happened with the story. If you're watching this for the first time, there will be spoilers. I actually didn't say that, but we'll be talking about story and stuff like that from the first part, the main campaign, the main game of Elden Ring. But something that's what happened with the original Erd tree when they took over the Crucible tree, is that it grew up through it and like was a parasite. It almost looks like Deathroot though too, if you can kind of see it. The I don't know if you guys can see my screen very well, but if we zoom in here, it almost looks like Deathroot. If you see up there in that top part, if you guys can
Yeah.
see that, and I don't know if that's Deathroot
Yeah, I
taking over
definitely
the old
see it.
tree or what.
Deathroot
It
mixing with a crucible tree
Yeah,
or
it
something
definitely
like
looks like
that.
it's being twisted around and growing onto it.
yeah, it doesn't look like that's natural. Whatever is going on with it, and then that is 100% like sap. I think we can confirm that's like sap of some sort of amber, right? I don't
Yeah.
think.
And when you zoomed in there, it also noticed that it looks like the tree is actually dusting and falling apart.
Yeah, and if
You
you
can
see
see it just
Deathroot,
breaking out.
yeah, and if you look at Deathroot in the game, in the base game, it has that same effect kind of, with things like falling apart and like just decaying and rotting. Not to be confused with rot. That is like its own separate thing, because this takes place with a lot of eldritch entities and outer space gods. Death is its own separate entity versus rot, so that's something not to be confused with. The tree might be rotting from Deathroot and all that, but it's not the same as if it was a rot tree. I don't think there's too much to look at here in that case, other than there's going to be like mountainous terrain. It looks like if this is an accurate screenshot of what we'll see in game, you can kind of see over here on the left side if that's going to be something that we'll be looking at. Let's see if I scroll down. There we go. Terrain might be hard to traverse, but I don't see anything other than that. And then like the main area that might be the main bad guy's lair. whoever it is, the main antagonist. That might be their lair in the center. They're the castle of the tree itself. But I don't think there's much more to
Yeah.
dissect from this too much.
And if you do zoom in on that center city, like right underneath the tree, it does look like one of those buildings is meant to like kind of collect the sap.
Oh, that one right there with the
Or
arch, the reverse
yeah,
arch. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a catcher.
yeah, like some kind of bowl to collect any sap from the like crucible tree or something.
Yeah, and you can see these trees here too are all dead and withered. So that could be just like a sign that that's part of it. We'll click on another one here. This is just something that's pretty cool. I just wanted to touch upon that you're getting an actual pre-order release set bonus. I don't think personally I'm going to get this, but anyone that's interested, this is something you have access to. The price range, if I'm not mistaken, is $239, correct? US dollars?
It's something
Yeah.
around there, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to cover that
Yeah,
quickly,
you
and
get
then we,
the art book,
yeah.
the figure.
Yeah, now actually something we can talk about here though, while this is here, is we can talk about Mesmer himself. So we're saying that he's a demigod from the talk right now. That he's a demigod, one of America's children. Yes or no? I was thinking he was going
Yeah,
to be a child of Moog, to be honest, or Rykard, potentially. And
those are likely, but I'm personally on the boat that he's a child of America.
the only problem I have with that is that we
Yeah.
don't hear about him ever. Now I understand if we do the same treatment as like the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1, where they kind of expunge any data and information and records of him existing ever, just because he's a traitor. And the reason why we know he's probably traitor-esque is because he has the dragon armor as well as like the dragon wings around him, and then he has the snakes for the blasphemous. So we can kind of tell that he's going to be a traitor of some sorts, or at least doesn't have ties to the Golden Order anymore.
Plus, the fact that he uses flames at all
Yeah,
is seen as blasphemy to the Erd Tree. So,
yeah, you'd want holy
On top of
stuff.
that, and being related to Queen America, we know that there was a lot more children of them because of every one of the mausoleums that have a bell tower are royalty.
yep, and
They
being
are
a
the children of America.
yeah, royalty is a child of America.
So are we saying the bell towers are for anyone that's born of America, or is this just those are meant for all of the children of America when they eventually, if they died, they would house them?
All the corpses
Those ones are ones that are
in
already dead.
They're already
The
dead.
ones with the
Okay.
bells, anyway. The ones with the bells.
because like they specifically say in the starting cutscene for Elden Ring that Godwin was the first to die, so that means a lot of others had to have died
Okay.
after him.
Now, but there were only a few demigods that were up for contesting the actual Elden
Seat of
Lord.
Elden Lord.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that means there could be like a sub demigod then. So maybe if America slept with other people, it would create like a less powerful being, I guess, if she wasn't having offspring with the Elden Lord or herself or with Renala.
Mhm.
I guess that's how you'd look at that then. But yeah, there's not a whole lot that.
Potentially.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, we know like figures like Godric are from way further down the line because he's not a child of America, but a child of one of her children or one of their children's children or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
So
Okay, so I'm gonna close this one. We're not doing too much with this one. This one here is just another picture to kind of show like the intro, but again, there's not a whole lot to look at in this picture either, other than it looks like fire. I will zoom on this one though. That looks more like blood over there on that side.
mhm.
So that could be something that also ties in, since that's its own entity as well, which is just crazy. And then like the ash of the fire, and it looks like rot and stuff like that as well.
I want to personally bring to attention the seat that Mesmer there is on, because it is very similar to the chairs shown in Morgoth's arena before you fight him.
Yeah.
One of the thrones, yeah.
Now he could have been a contester for Elden Lord then, or for ruler, and then when he came to the lands betwixt, This is where he may have found hidden knowledge or information and learned that the Golden Order is a lie and it's a manipulative thing. And this is where he decided that he did not want to side, and thus this is where he was kind of like banished to.
Yeah, it could be.
Can you go back to the first image, by the way? I want to just confirm something real quick.
Yeah.
So the tower on the right, next to the scooping one,
Yeah, I don't know
it
if you can
looks
see
like a
my
divine
mouse.
tower. I can see
Yeah,
your
we
mouse,
can see our mouse.
You can
yeah.
see my mouse? Yeah, I
So-
don't think you guys can see my
It
mouse that are
looks-
watching the video. So if you can't see my mouse in the video, I'm sorry, but yeah, you guys can. But yeah, so this looks like a divine tower for sure.
And if we look on the map for the actual game itself, all the divine towers create a circle over the ocean in the center, and in the middle there is a cloud zone where this might be the location of where this tower is.
Oh,
In the
like
very
actual,
center of the
the
map.
actual Erd tree is there then? You're thinking that this could be the absolute center of the map, the actual center of the map, and then
The actual center of the map, but maybe not the primary Erd tree.
right, okay, like a false Erd tree or a seed that grew, and then maybe Mesmer here tried to turn it into like one of the old trees, like one of the crucible trees, or the crucible tree, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be something like that. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I know. There's also like there's parts of the map where it like goes off to. There's a few areas that just kind of go off into nothingness on the sides of the map, so that's also potential. But yeah, that tracks. That tracks. If you guys are ready, then I think we can head over to the video itself.
Yeah. We can start there.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So first thing here, we're gonna read the description
Yeah,
here
we
because this
got-
kind of gives some lore as well. Right, so the land of shadow, a place obscured
Right.
by the Erd tree, where the goddess Marika first set foot, a land purged in an unsung battle, set ablaze by Mesmer's flame. It was to this land that Mikola departed, divesting himself of his flesh, his strength, his lineage, of all things golden.
Yep.
So
Very interesting there.
yeah, this is where Queen Marika essentially became a goddess. From my understanding of reading that passage of where the goddess Marika first set foot, a place obscured by the Erd tree.
Seems to imply.
Yeah. Now, when I see a place obscured by the Erd tree, the only thing I can think of is up in the snowfield, where the Halig tree is underneath the Erd tree, and there is no Erd tree interaction. Like you literally can't see the Erd tree there.
Yeah.
I don't know of another location where the Erd tree would be at. Maybe the back right side of the map. There is actually there's a spot that just kind of goes to nothing. It could be that whole location as well, that whole locale. But that immediately brought my attention to me, where I'm thinking, if it's obscured by the Erd tree, it'd have to be somewhere where the Erd tree covers it, or something where the Erd tree can't see it and have its influence. But then that third part there, a fourth line, right? A land purged in an unsung battle. So again, we talked about how they probably removed that from records and stuff, where they don't want people to know about this place. That would make perfect sense then.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, and that-
I get from that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want
know
people to
anything
know
about
of what had
Mesmer.
transpired here.
Yeah.
Because that's just like the one prophet. I don't remember his name. The one that goes with the golden mask. If you do his quest line all the way to the end,
Orin.
yeah. If you do his quest line, right, what happens is he finds out the truth from Golden Mask and then calls Golden Mask a heretic and a blasphemer. And all that happened is that Golden Mask learned the truth, that Radagon was Marika and Marika is Radagon. They're one and the same person. That is the only thing that's changed. And then you kind of find out that the Golden Order is a lie because of it. And then the Golden Mask makes the true Golden Order. But that whole point to show that by learning kind of what transpired beforehand, just completely tells everyone that it's a lie and it's a sham of what they're telling you.
Right.
Now, that second bit of it, though, is set ablaze by Mesmer's flame. So did he light this place on fire because of Marika, or to prevent Marika and the Golden Order?
Maybe like as a banishment.
One of my initial thoughts was Mesmer was sent here by America to take it over, and he was like burning down all of his other competitors to be Lord of the Land of Shadows or something along those lines, but who knows?
Okay.
I'm kind of interpreting it a little differently. I
Mhm.
think that he was more banished, and
Mhm.
then they used the Erd Tree to basically lock this area away.
Could be.
And now, do you think that set ablaze by Mesmer's flame? Do you think that was he started doing that because of the banishment, or
It could just be because of his own powers
okay?
that the land is forever under his influence.
Mhm.
That's true. Kind of like with the fire giant, which is weird because when you see the fire giant, nothing's on fire. It's actually the opposite. But I guess it would make sense
Yeah,
if the actual was it the that's not the crucible. That's
Fell God
the flame of
or
the fell
whatever.
god. That whole area is just set pretty much destroyed and in ruins because of America and the war they fought.
yeah.
All because that flame was a threat to the Erd Tree.
Yeah.
But then they found out the flame could never go out, so they just left the fire giant there to tend to it.
Yeah, pretty much reducing him to nothing, so that way he can't fight back. That
Yep.
way he couldn't
He's
usurp
nothing
it.
but a slave.
Yeah. It was to this land that Mikola departed. So obviously we know Mikola left at one point to go find a cure for himself and Melania, where he could age and then he could
Yeah.
cure Melania of her rot. He must have learned something though, because he did end up actually figuring out how to do that. He did learn how to age himself, and he learned how to cure Melania. It was just she never had the chance. Now, this second part here is divesting. I'm gonna Google that real quick because I want to pull that up just so we can kind of look at what that is. Deprive something of or rid oneself of. Okay.
Yeah, so he completely rid himself of his flesh, his strength, his whole
His
family line.
Yeah. So he pretty much expunged himself from the America, all that. The strength one is interesting though because we don't know what his strength was other than maybe sleep. Because there is theories that he is also Saint Trina.
Yeah, another thing is not many people really look into this, but the bewitching branches were another thing made by Mikola, and it's always been that his strength was his ability to get people to follow him.
Yeah, that was his power. Kind of like gotta bring up another game here, if you don't mind.
No, no, not at all.
RuneScape. Do you mind? Do you know Saren and Zaras both have a confliction about them where everyone that's around them slowly gets warped to following them in that kind of aspect. Mikolas seems to already have that power. That was his ability.
Kind of like I don't know what you'd say Ronnie's was magic. Radon's was his strength. Melania's was her speed, I think. Or you could say her
Speed
ties
and
to rot.
ability to, yeah, the rot as well.
We don't know about Godwin's ability, but each one had like a specific power or feat. So then maybe his was just like charisma almost. I don't know if I'd say manipulation, but
Right.
it could be that
It
as
does
well.
seem to be unwitting, though. Like, he doesn't have a choice.
That could be one of those things. Not to disagree, but that could be well, like as devil's advocate, it could be one of those things where he's just so well spoken, or what he does wins people over just by simply showing his ingenuity. But we
Okay.
don't know what.
So I just
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. But I just pulled up the description for the bewitching branch. And in it, it says the Empyrean Mikola is loved by many people. Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection.
Okay.
And those are the specific words used.
Compel is like encourage, right? So if we're
Yeah,
gonna if we're gonna go that way, then it's kind of like winning people over, I guess, showing them things that would benefit them, and then it's like, hey, will you take my side if I show you this?
yeah,
I would almost
and he
say.
was definitely most able to win those over that were like kind of shunned by the Golden Order, like the Albinarics and Misbegotten.
Yeah. Yeah, that checks out too then, because he built his own tree and was building it to kind of take over and get rid of the other one from understanding correctly,
Hmm.
which we
Yeah,
know it
because it
never
was
happened, but
yeah, because it was an Erd tree sapling, but he watered it with his own blood. Is what it was. That's what the Howling tree was, at least.
yeah, but we know that the inside of the Halleck tree is hollowed out now already. So like the tree is done growing,
Yeah.
from my understanding.
Well, it died because Mikola left it.
Mm.
It wasn't able to keep growing at that point, so it just started to wither due to Melania's rot.
Because she took refuge in it, which caused it to start rotting. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure she bloomed in it.
Yeah, you can see one of her blooms at the roots of the Howling tree.
Yeah, it's in this. It's
Yeah,
in the side.
that's what killed it.
Yeah, it's in the side next to it. You can see it. The other thing of all things golden isn't really necessary to pay attention to. That's just anything that the Golden Order he rid himself of. Which, if you know Mikola's lore at all, reading into it, you know that that's the whole point of what he did. What he did, and the Hallowed tree represents that, anyways. Because you would never make a secondary tree that is counteracting the main tree unless your intentions were to not be part of that. So I'm gonna zoom out here now, and then we'll go into the actual video itself. And we'll watch it first, and then we'll kind of do a kind of like a breakdown of it.
Mhm.
Pure and radiant, he wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men. There is nothing more terrifying. In that forsaken place, blood must spill. Blood of your fellows. They are true faithful.
They were never saints. They just happened to be on the losing side of a war.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light? I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind Mikola is doing here.
Those stripped of the grace of gold shall all meet death in the embrace of Vesma's flame.
Come now, touch the withered arm, and travel to the realm of shadow. I will not be far behind. May we meet again.
Okay. So there's a lot to cover, actually, honestly, with what I was seeing there.
Right.
So we'll start at the beginning
Yeah.
here. And I'm just gonna turn down the volume now here of this and play it.
Yeah.
So this is just
This
just
person-
anybody. I think this is just literally anyone. I don't think this is
Yeah.
anything specific.
Player.
Yeah, it's literally any player.
I know some people were thinking that it might be like an NPC that shows up at Moog's palace, uh, being like, "Hey, I'm gonna come with you to find Mikola." And there was a cut NPC from Elden Ring's development that had a whole quest line tied to Mikola and Saint Trina, because at least originally in the pre-stages, Saint Trina and Mikola were one and the same, and that still might be the case. Um, so it could be them, but we're not sure as of this point.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously right here, this is Mikola. We don't know if he's alive or dead, right? Still, even when we find them in Moog's palace, we just know that they're asleep still, and that the egg is being tampered with by Moog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing here is like from this that I would say we can gather is we kind of learn why this happens and like why it gets to this point, and that we're gonna find out exactly why he's in this state.
Terrifying.
And I'm gonna fast forward here a little bit.
So something that the figure that was talking there at the beginning is they described Mikola as like pure and wanting to like clean the hearts of men or whatever. And they called Mikola terrifying, which is something you hear a couple times in the game. Mikola's power is described as terrifying, and that he's the strongest of all the Empyreans.
Which is crazy because maybe we do end up fighting Mikola then as like the boss. That could be the final boss then of this area. Like optionally, is you actually fight Mikola, and then something yada yada yada. But that would make sense then if he is the strongest in a different sense, and he just by him like shedding the shackles of the Golden Order, he's able to kind of gain like a new strength from it.
Yeah, and do something, do what he wants specifically, not locked to any ties to America.
Exactly. So like again, this is the same. A lot of roots and just a lot of death.
Yeah, a lot more that we're able to see from the initial shot.
Exactly. This is interesting because this is magic then, right? Like 100%.
That definitely looks like a great rune.
Yeah.
And I know some people were saying it looked similar to the rune of the Unborn, and another was Melania's rune, which it would make sense if it looks like Melania's rune, because siblings do have similar looking great runes, in which we see that with Morgott and Moog's runes.
Yeah, they're almost identical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at some interesting stuff. This is definitely an NPC, I think. I don't think this is going to be a boss. At least I personally don't think so.
The armor set's really cool, and so is that sword.
The armor set's cool, and then we have a look at one of the new weapons, most likely. I don't think they would have this in here if you don't get it. So that is definitely one of the weapons that,
In that forsaken
potential.
place.
We have Jarman. This looks like this looks like Golem armor, actually, to be honest with you, because it has the same resemblance if you look at the head.
Right.
That's what it looks like to me. It's like a Golem Jarman. Okay, so this is another big one here. This is a like a Saint Trina place, or like a sleep field almost. Is what it looks like. You have the Saint Trina lilies in the background, obviously. The purple hues and stuff, very much sleep-esque. I don't think you can.
I'm
compare
wondering
it to anything else.
if this figure might be like a boss or something, because you do see them move like briefly or like very slightly.
In that, yeah. Here we have these look like stones. Those are definitely like smithing stones, or like crystal magic stones.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of like Rhea Lucaria almost.
Yeah, this might
Um,
be like a Sellen sub faction or something like that.
A study hall of
yeah,
some sort.
Yeah, because if you
yeah,
looked at
because
the
there's like
Celia place, they had that.
papers. Yeah, there's papers all over the place and like seats for students. Then this figure on the chair could both be
Blood
like
of
the
your
leader of the
fellows.
faction and like a teacher.
Yeah, I don't think this person's going to be a boss, to be honest. I think this is someone that's going to be talking to you.
They are true.
Yeah.
This place here has been scorched, and you see a lot of root, and it's like swamps. It's like a swampy, like, death. I don't think it's death root in here. This looks more like just swamp with, like, overgrown vines and stuff like that coming out of it, and that it's been, like, scorched by Mesmer.
Right. And a lot of these like places have uh cliffs with roots just like hanging down all over them, and at least when I see that, it makes me think like a lot of this place looks like it's like raised out of the ground almost. Like
And
the
not only
ground
that,
was
it looks like
pushed
this
up,
place is like poisoned
Yeah.
or
right?
toxic. That water might be hazardous to be in.
One of the things I'm thinking of too is that the roots might be from the actual Erd tree that we're seeing, that they're trying to like overtaking this place almost
Hmm.
as well. This is going to be interesting place. Yeah, I have no idea. Like other than the design here and it being swamp esque based, I don't think Deathroot is going to be part of this because that's very distinct. We were talking about that before, and there's really not a whole lot else that would be going on with this.
Right.
Now this looks like a familiar character. I can't put my name on. I can put my finger on, but this guy looks familiar
Wait,
with his.
yeah. See him later in the trailer. It's the guy pulling like that sword out of his face or whatever. Because he has like the same cloak and that emblem like holding like clasping his cloak together. You see that on him as well. I'm really curious who that figure was, like, or that lady next to him.
That might be America.
Also, it could be.
Because this is where she first. This is where she first departed or first set foot, and became
Yeah,
the goddess. Because nothing's known about
and
her
you
except
see,
then.
yeah, and you see her like hand on her stomach there, almost like how people depict like a pregnant woman being. So
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. He reminds me almost like Morgotten Moog as well with his look.
Yeah.
yeah, he's very similar to them. Yeah,
This is just like a. I think
lots of
we're just,
jars.
I think we're just gonna have like a pot jar, like kind of like the story mode where you find out with Haslo that like the Jarbird people get attacked and stuff for their pots. I think this might be kind of like a slight delve into that.
Hmm.
Other
It
than
could
other
be,
than it's just
yeah.
like a jar factory of some sorts.
Like a bunch of dead jars being hung up there.
Yeah, exactly. Because then we go into a lava place. This has to be like maybe Mesmer's castle or something. I don't know where else you would have this
Right.
fitting.
It could be like an underground like dungeon, like just like an extra big dungeon or something. But
True.
like I
True.
feel
Yeah.
like I mean it might be like a legacy dungeon also. So
Right. Exactly. It's just this
Yeah, I
thing is
can't picture where
massive.
it's gonna be.
Yeah. Then we get a good look at a castle of some sort, and then you can see the top of it covered in some type of roots. Things look like it's falling upwards, which is interesting.
right, like you can see like rocks like floating in the air, falling apart like all over this trailer. So
Exactly.
On
almost
top of that, it looks like there's
part,
tree roots in the
yeah,
back there.
Yeah, and
almost
on
like
the right,
parts
and
of
then down there you
parts
can
of
see
it.
it. Yeah, the entire top looks like it's been covered in roots. Actually, I would say
Mhm.
it's not just
Yeah,
black because of like a shadow. It's almost like it's black intentionally because something is turning it black and like decaying it.
Mhm. It could also be like they're trying to hide something up there,
True.
maybe, and they just like let's just darken this for the trailer or something.
That is possible. That
Yeah.
is possible. Like an aesthetic choice for it. Yeah. here, this is obviously going to be a
This
boss.
Yeah, probably like a new overworld boss or something.
Yeah, this is
Eh,
big, and he's pretty close to the tree, though. If you see that, if you look to the left, that tree is pretty close
Right.
actually in size compared to before.
It's a lot like the Wicker Mans from like Celtic lore or whatever, which were big wooden like men that they would like put people in and burn them as like a
And you can
ritual
actually see that
sacrifice.
if you look at his arms. Those are people trying to get out that are burnt and,
Right.
turned into corpses. And then inside too, right near his belly, you can see that as well. There's more people, like his entire body, and then even his legs. You can see it. People are trying to escape, and they're getting burned and killed. So whatever this boss is, it's going to be like an effigy, or you could even have it be where all the blasphemers go, and then they get fed to this thing and sacrificed to be murdered. Or this could be like the flame fell god, like an aspect of it, as well.
Maybe
Yeah.
not a place for
Yeah.
sin, because you don't see the briars that you do for the other briars of sin.
Exactly. And we
Oh,
have.
yeah, then this thing, this like leech creature.
I think this is just an enemy that's going to be there. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy with this, my personal opinion.
Yeah.
The moon is shown in the background, but I still don't think that's going to do much. It's just
Yeah.
like some leech enemy, I think, they're just showcasing, like, look, here's a new enemy design.
Yeah. Yeah, people were comparing it to the worm faces almost
Yeah.
because it is pretty similar to and then this thing.
Obviously a boss, very obvious.
Yeah.
It's
See a
it's
lot
an
of, like,
omen.
Crucible.
horns.
It's definitely an omen. You can see because of the horns, so it's cursed. See if we fast
I'd
forward.
say it might be more primordial than cursed. It might be more of an original being to this
Well,
world.
like the
Well, no,
omen
the omens are classified
are,
by those
like,
horns.
related to the crucible.
Yeah. And the
So
only
it could be
omens have
something very
those.
close to.
So
Yeah, it could be something like very close to the crucible. So
yeah. I mean, which we
Um,
again speculated that the tree is maybe a crucible tree, actually, not actually an Erd tree. So
The
I've heard people compare this thing to like those like lion dancers from like Chinese festivals, and like I think in some shots you can see like multiple sets of limbs come out of it
yeah, there's a
and
few.
the
of those.
lion
Not
face.
Not just multiple sets of limbs, it also has multiple sets of rows of teeth.
Yeah, here you go. Look at
Yeah.
this. You can see this. You can see 2 feet up in the top, and then you can see more hands down in the bottom left. If you see that,
Right.
yeah, you see that. There you go. I think this
yeah.
is gonna be like a grafted omen something. If it's like literally what we're seeing versus if it's a crucible aspect of some sort that's an omen, then you could say it's a grafted thing because it's got hands and feet everywhere, just all attached to it. And then it's
Yeah, and
obviously
it's
got
using
lightning powers.
too.
Yeah. And that's a dragon aspect.
Yeah.
The thing is not natural though, whatever
Well,
has
since
made
it's
it.
Colt.
yellow, it's probably not dragon.
Then we
Yeah.
have him.
Then Mesmer. Yeah, and the line like he says here is like mother, would you really approve of someone so bereft of light being the Lord?
Yeah, and then he also talks
He's
about how
definitely-
anyone that doesn't follow the Golden Order, he's going to snuff out and burn
Yeah.
away with flame, which contradicts his entire appearance because his appearance is more of all things that are considered the enemy of the Golden Order versus what he actually says in the trailer would make it seem like he works for the Golden Order, which is interesting.
He definitely has all the golden hair. Not the golden hair, the orange hair, the yellow eyes.
Yeah,
definitely
I
a
was gonna
child of
say
America.
if you look at his eyes, they're very much like dragon eyes almost.
Yeah, this might be someone that because they tell you if you use too much dragon stuff, you start turning into a dragon. So that could be part of it. He has the Radagon hair, so it could be
Yeah,
America
like,
Radagon offspring, and that's when the problem started. Is when she started incesting with herself. Because Millennia was rot, Mikola was cursed to be a child forever.
Mhm.
So I mean, it makes sense. I'm gonna move on here to this
Oh yeah,
guy.
you get to see like one of the new like sword types there that
Yeah.
the Tarnished is using.
We don't know what this thing is, but this looks like a common enemy. I don't think this would be a boss. Same thing with this. I don't think this guy's a boss. I think this is just a common enemy. It's like the
Yeah, and you
throwing
get to see
daggers.
more like the throwable weapon type being used.
Yeah, then we get here,
This
we
new
get this
spell.
new some new big spell. And we'll cover the weapons here shortly, so I'm gonna kind of just go past these for now. Yeah, we're pretty close. Wherever these pictures are being take place, though, if you pay attention to the background, you're pretty close to the tree in these pictures.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go ahead. Yep. Then a wooded area. People are saying that this might be Kaled. I don't think so.
Yeah,
If it
probably
is, they're just using the weapon or spell in Kaled to show it off.
Yeah. This 100% is going to probably be an arcane one. I couldn't imagine that you don't have something like this not be arcane. They have the glow in their hand, so it's at least a finger seal of some sort. We know it's an incantation. It's just whether or not it's a arcane incantation or not. And that could be a special unique seal that we get from this as well, even.
looks like a
Could
crucible
be like
spell
an,
as well.
Yes.
I was gonna say it could be like a new like beast spell or something.
I think it's crucible because of the horns and
It
the way the
could
teeth
be.
are. Like some of the other enemies here in the trailer are also like that, where they have horns and really odd misshapen teeth, like other crucible
But-
enemies.
But also, like weirdly, the bears are tied to like Faramazula and like the beastmen and dragons there.
Exactly.
Because if you look in the file or like the in-game files for them, it says like dragon stuff related to the bear, like the giant bears at least.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have this place. That's actually a really good shot. Yeah, that's an omen.
Right.
That's an omen crucible bear for sure. You can tell by all the horns coming out of that.
This place is really fucking pretty.
This is pretty, and not only that, but supposedly this is like a boss fight of some sorts, which is interesting. I think this is more of an NPC boss fight, maybe.
Yeah.
And then we go into this. This is just
Almost
another
like a fucking
a new
like tree sentinel on a boar.
yeah, a new tree sentinel. It's just like a crucible thing, which makes sense. Again,
using, like, a
another
gravity
like omen slash
board
crucible
almost.
enemy. Yeah. That does this.
Fucking hippo crocodile thing.
Yeah, they got
This
boomerang
thing,
guy.
that thing, when one of the initial reactions I watched, it said something interesting that I was like, oh, that really much could be it. But almost like a mimic tier trying to turn into multiple things at once.
That is
And
possible.
it kind of got stuck like that.
Yeah, because you can see the back of it. It's like gray blob.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
And
makes
it's
could be
very much
related
the
to
color of
Deathroot.
mimic tiers.
exactly.
Because some of the other Deathroot things look like they melted together, and that thing looks like it's melted.
Yeah. It could be.
It's hard to say for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a mimic tier of some sort, or probably some type of Deathroot amalgamation. Then I would say that's probably for the best in terms of what it could be.
Yeah, then there's the guy that was in the picture earlier.
Oh, look at him. He doesn't. He's not even anything anymore. He doesn't have. He has a body. He's like all skin and bones though, and then he has this thing in his head.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
the
you see
skin's
him like
barely
pulling
even
it
there.
out, and it looks like his head's about to detach from it.
And if you see what it is, it's probably all one thing though. So him pulling it out, it's gonna pull it out from the bottom all the way up from like his legs
Yeah.
are. That should all come out from there. Is what it would most likely be. At least if that is correct, based on how that looks. It looks like it's stemming from one point. And then we just have
Yeah.
Mesmer versus him, versus like NPC dude, Raging Wolf guy. I'm gonna skip past this. There isn't a whole lot we're gonna gather from that other than you fight Mesmer, which would make sense. He's a demigod. Now this
and
here though, this is
then-
important.
This has to be Mikola.
This is Mikola 100%.
Like purifying that tree or something.
Yeah,
almost.
they have it blurry on purpose, but this is 100% Mikola.
Because
Like helping the
you don't
tree.
really see the veil around the tree anymore, and
Yeah, the veil's gone. You can see the sun's coming out. It's clearing away. And then you see a bunch of the trees like falling apart and turning white almost. Is that what it looks like? Or is that just the light hitting
yeah,
it?
that's what it looks. I think
Looks
that's
like it's
what it
turning
is.
white.
That looks like Deathroot, though, even more. It looks like a Deathroot tree, even more so now. Though, again, it could be Crucible, though, because technically Death was part of the Crucible tree. But it looks even more so like
Yeah.
that to me. And I think we just go into that, yeah. So that's that for the video. I'm going to find the first weapon here, because then we'll kind of talk about those, I think, next. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about in terms of things that they could be. Like,
What
I
I'm
can
gathering
think
is that
of
there's a
one.
lot of Crucible stuff in this DLC, like a lot of it. I
yeah.
think
Makes
that's going to be
sense.
like the main point, main enemy is going to be Crucible stuff.
The Crucible was one of the biggest mysteries left over.
Yeah.
And it's the entire chapter before the Erd Tree, before Queen Marika and everything else.
Yeah. So here I have a translation from the interview when they were talking to him about some of the new weapons, some of the new things we could potentially be looking forward to use. And he didn't give us any specifics, obviously, other than the weapons. We'll kind of go about that as well. But he talked about some of the new weapon types. Now, weapon types, for everyone that isn't aware, that's going to be like a colossal weapon counts as a weapon type, and then a katana counts as a weapon type, or fists count as a weapon type. And then in those types, obviously, you'd have the different categories of weapons: colossal hammer, colossal sword, katana, and then you have like the nagi kiba inside there. The normal uchi katana inside of that. So for right now, he said that we have 8 types of new weapons, which is a lot, actually, if you think about it, because the DLC probably isn't going
Right.
to come out with one new weapon for each type and then call it a day.
And that makes me wonder if they're going to add new weapons across the map too.
From like the normal game,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I remember Miyazaki saying that he's avoiding changing the main, like the base game.
Nothing from this DLC will affect the main game. That's something he talked about. This DLC has its own ending, and it doesn't affect the main game or the main game end scenes at all. So someone was trying to say, "Oh, well, can you find out which ending is canon?" And it's one of those things where it's like, no, because it doesn't affect the main
That's not how
ending.
that works.
Yeah, the main ending is based on what you pick, and that's how the game ends. This has its own ending that then goes into the normal campaign, but it doesn't ultimately affect how the campaign plays out. But here he talks about some of the ones that we have, and he says a large katana, like an odachi, reverse hand swords, the Gekute Ken, and then highly
Yeah.
novel ones. So I don't know what he means 100% by highly novel ones, but that will be interesting to kind of see what they got.
Probably means like
yeah,
less
the-
practical weapons.
Oh yeah,
This
100%.
is this is a very rough translation, though.
Yes, exactly. Dueling shields
Yeah.
will be interesting. We kind of saw it in there. We'll kind of go over it and stuff. Dueling offensive or dueling defensive will be pretty sweet. Throwing daggers, it'll be interesting to see a throwing dagger main weapon actually instead of just consumables.
Yeah, I'm imagine like that giant throwable pot will be in the same weapon class as the like special throwing daggers.
Yeah, you can maybe even wield it like a weapon, kind of. If you play Dark Souls 3, when you fight, what is her name? The acid snow lady.
Freed.
Yeah, but not Freed, the other
Or-
guy. The guy that's with her, if you
Oh.
remember.
Oh,
Father.
Ariandel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you use the pot like that, and then your Ash of War is you throwing it, and it blows up. So like maybe you slam it
could be.
around. That could be something maybe. And then also the martial arts, if you imagine monks. So we'll kind of go quickly through this and see if we can spot any new weapons and what they might be. Obviously, this is going to be a weapon. This is probably going to be just a great sword, though.
Mhm.
It has special like carvings on it. It almost looks like Erd Tree carvings from like the Crucible stuff, or the Erd Tree avatars. So I would say probably a faith-based one or like a Crucible-based one almost. I don't know if that's the case 100%, but that's what it's giving me the vibes of. I don't know what would y'all think about this?
It could be it buffs itself with like faith damage or something,
Yeah.
like holy damage.
Okay, we'll
Yeah, that's what
continue.
I was thinking. It's either
Yeah.
faith or strength
Yeah,
based.
then this guy in like the golem Havel armor with the giant pie.
Yeah,
or
which
whatever.
we think the pot would be a weapon. Keep going. She doesn't have anything for us to look at. Neither does this. I don't think this person. No, this person has the reverse swords. I think is what they show in this, which will be interesting because it's like, how do they play differently? Because if the reverse swords are their own thing, how do those play differently versus something else someone else would have? His weapon, obviously, that looks like a. It looks like a great spear, which isn't great. If you're not aware of the current status of the game at higher levels, the great spears are like the best thing in the game. And the last thing we need is another crazy good great spear with Mogs existing and kind of being just the penultimate thing until you get to higher levels. So hopefully it's not. Maybe it's just going to be a spear, which would be pretty interesting. Or if maybe it's a new classification.
Yeah. I would imagine like its Ash of War would probably be like that move we see him do later in the trailer where like he jumps and like spears come out of the ground or something.
Yeah, let's see if we can get to that part. Yeah, these are the reverse blades here. You can see the way they're holding it. He's holding it, this player is holding it upside down or reverse gripped. The throwing daggers here, there's one, and then they're going to throw the other one from the other hand. And they hit it. This is a new spell now, and this is butterflies. So this is important because this looks like purple butterflies, which is something we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything. But then it also looks like what's it called? Like, you know, gravity magic?
Yeah.
Like the flail and whatnot. Except for it's a lot more pink. I don't know if that's just the lighting.
I'm thinking it might be something with Trina, to be honest. It is the only thing I could
Maybe like
imagine. Yeah. Just because the pink is kind of with Trina, like that the pinkish purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I doubt they would add a whole new element just for the DLC or whatever.
Yeah,
Whole new,
that would
element
be
or status.
that'd be really bad for balancing issues, at least for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have a new twin blade. Obviously, it looks like that's another type of soldier, probably a mesmer soldier, I would say, if anything, because they have the
Probably
same
something like that.
armor pattern that the other soldiers have. But yeah, here we have.
That's either like a boss or like right in front of a boss gate because you
Yeah,
see the
'cause you see a
boss
fog
gate
wall.
part of it.
Yeah, and this is the battle monk. So we're gonna get battle monk armor. You can obviously see here, so you can maybe do Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat if you want. But yeah, you have fist weapons now. This is gonna be similar to the bone fist from Dark Souls 2, I think. And if people aren't aware, that one, if you had it in your left hand or if you had two of them, you got special animations and attack patterns specific to that weapon, which gave you super armor, and then also made it so that you had crazy like damage attacks, which is really cool. So it'll be interesting to see what those do. And then here we go. We have the pot. Obviously, we talked about being able to throw it. A new crossbow. Now this could be like Gale's. Yeah, this
rapid fire crossbow.
this is not going to be okay though if you're able to spam perfumer bolts like this.
Right.
Hopefully its damage is very, very low because that would suck.
Yeah, but perfumer
Yeah,
bolts have a
I'm more
set damage.
concerned about its status proc chance though.
Yeah, perfumer bolts also have their own set damage values though. So maybe it'll have an ability where it nerfs the damage you can do and nerfs the status or both. Maybe that way it prevents you from spamming too hard for like status effects or like gimmicky
Yeah, I would
arrows.
say like status bolts would be an absolute nightmare with that thing.
Yeah. Because the amount of people that do
'cause a
save
lot of
edits and
people-
stuff like that.
yeah.
Because
A lot of people are saying like this would be like Guts' crossbow from Berserk or whatever because they do love their Berserk references in
They
Souls
do.
games.
the problem I'm seeing
Oh,
with
yeah.
this is Twink Invaders and people that abuse either save states with their game or item modifiers or cheat engine, and that they're going to just put a billion sleep in this, or a bunch of explosive, or a bunch of rot, a bunch of whatever, and then you can just walk into someone and then essentially, I'm going to go back a second here, and just do that, and then insta rot them, insta whatever, unless what you're seeing is what it fires for rapid fire specifically, and you can't use your own bolts. Now, that would be another way to actually go about it, is it has a normal firing mechanism, and then its Ash of War is this explosive auto fire, which would be a lot better.
Because one of the current issues is with the triple shot crossbow that we already have, one triple shot is basically already a sleep proc on you, and then they can just get a free hit on you.
Yeah.
And if they're laggy, they basically get those hits for free.
Right.
Yeah, because the phantom hits, yeah. We talked about this. This is going to be an incantation 100%. There's no way it's not. It just depends on what kind of scaling it has, whether it's going to scale better with if it's going to be a normal type of incantation or like an arcane incantation. It will be the same. If it's a crucible one though, it'll probably be just a normal incantation then.
I'm imagining it's probably gonna
Basically,
work something along the lines of like how Grail's Roar works. Probably.
Yeah.
But just based off its animations.
That's just a normal Uchi Katana though. Those look like two new weapons or maybe a dual offense set.
Those swords
Yeah.
kind of remind me of two swords in particular from Dark Souls 3. The Dancer's swords.
It could
Oh.
be something like the Dancer Swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also thinking of either the Dancer or the gold Tracer and the silver Tracer from Dark Souls 1.
From Dark Souls 1,
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. But those ones,
That's
those
just the
ones,
first one that came
saw
to mind.
Yeah. This is a new weapon. Awesome. A purple lightning. That is interesting.
Yeah.
That looks like an epee, so that's a heavy thrusting sword.
Yeah, new gravity weapon, probably.
New gravity weapon potentially, and it's a thrusting sword instead of a heavy spear, which is going to be a lot better then. The armor looks pretty crazy too, so that'll be interesting to see what that one does. This guy has the one incantation we'll probably get from killing this guy, to be honest, which is going to be this.
Yeah, there are screenshots from like the store page where you see the Tarnished doing a move like that. So
Yeah, bone meringue, we could also potentially use as a weapon
like
type.
if this thing is like a boss that gives like a remembrance or something, we'd probably get like a boomerang thing like that from it.
Yeah, I don't know what else you would get because
Yeah.
usually they offer up two different things on purpose, so you have options. So it'd either be bone meringue or something else. But yeah, it's interesting to see that this is a potential weapon. Now it'd probably be under the throwing weapon category, though. I don't think it'd be its own weapon type. I feel like that'd be a waste of a weapon type. Nothing from
Honestly.
him. Yeah, here we go. So this is we have a
The
sword
dueling
and then a
shield.
shield.
That looks like a great shield, if you ask me.
It's
Well,
a twin
probably-
blade.
It's a dueling.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
dueling
it's a twin
shield.
blade also.
Because then when you put it together, it forms the shield. That could be a
Actually, can you
spell
go
for
back real
fire.
quick?
Can I what?
Can you go back real quick to the shield? Where it looks like he was slamming it into the ground.
It looks like he's attacking with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It was
Which
a
makes
different,
sense.
different frame. Right there. I think I saw it.
This one? He's holding it
Yeah.
up to block.
It looks like he was about to slam it into the ground, though.
I get
If-
that.
and-
I get that from this one more. Hold on. There, I get that from this more if he's slamming it down. Because the other one that's in front of him and he's like, almost looks like he's blocking with it. But
More
Oh.
like he's lifting it up and slamming it down.
yeah, here maybe we get a grab like this from Mesmer as an incantation where you grab him and explode him with fire. Okay, we get Crucible Wings
Yeah,
though.
then-
That's really cool. That was always something that I was a huge fan of. It'll be interesting to see what people do with this. People are pretty oblivious in this game, so I can't wait to see
yeah.
the shenanigans that people pull with this, where they just fly off the edge and die to gravity.
themselves.
Yeah. Now, this could be the Ash of War, though, specifically for this weapon as well, because they have the weapon out and are doing this.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I would more or
could be,
less think
yeah.
that this is the incantation or the Ash of War.
These are the Crucible dive that we get from the Sword and Shield Crucible Knights.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's it. I think that's pretty much everything to be covered as well. Is there anything else that you guys think that we should touch upon or talk about?
I think that's about it that I can think of.
Yeah, there's not too much more we can get off from this.
I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll probably get another trailer here in like the next couple months.
Oh yeah, probably. It'd be
Yeah.
smart to keep up the hype for it potentially.
There's
Right.
still quite a lot of time till then.
Yeah, we have
maybe one in like early
4
April
months.
or something like that.
Yeah, 2 months out. That would make sense. That would check out. But yeah, if that's it then. Thanks for joining me on this and doing like a deep diving and going over and covering stuff. Everyone else watching the
yeah.
video, I hope you all enjoyed this. It's something a little bit different, but something I wanted to talk about since I'm a huge fan of Elden Ring, and I know Kumi Killer and Colton here are both also huge fans of Elden Ring. So appreciate you two for joining me on this, and hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!